to fly fish. And if some of you were here earlier, about a year and a half ago, I gave my first speech, or one of my speeches, about learning to fly fish. Well, now that I've advanced more in the sport, I have decided to learn a little bit more about fly tying. So tonight I'm going to talk to you about fly tying. Why would anyone want to tie their own flies? What materials and tools will be used, and then show you some of the flies that I've tied recently. Well, in about December of this past year, I was able to go fly fishing in my first winter fly fishing trip. I was out up in Mount Shasta on the Trinity River, which is one of the famous rivers for fly fishing, or fishing in general. I was in a boat with my father. He was on one side, I was on the other, and we had a guide in the middle. So we had each of our poles. For example, this is one that you practice on. And my dad was here casting, and I was in the front of the boat casting. And usually we were on one side. Well, my dad and I don't go that often because you really need to be retired or have a lot of time off. So my dad would say, "Got one!" And he would be in the trees. And I'd say, "Got one!" And it would be a rock. Well, after 2 days and over 8 hours a day of fishing, we did actually catch fish, although in the first day we didn't catch any. He caught a couple of steelhead, and I caught one steelhead. So it was my first steelhead catch. And here's a picture of me with my steelhead. It was a 22-inch steelhead. It was a hatchery. There's hatchery and wild. If you want a closer look, I'll pass it around. So fly fishing is fun. There's a lot to know about fly fishing. You need to know about different waters. You can fish in the ocean, streams, lakes. It's all different techniques. There's different materials needed. And it's just exciting because, you know what? You get to catch these fish and learn a lot about different types of fish, like steelhead trout, bass fish, the list goes on. And you get to enjoy scenery like this in the outdoors here in California, which is one of the best places to fish in the world. Now, how did I get into fly tying? Well, there's one area of fly fishing that I don't particularly enjoy or like. And does anyone know what that might be? Bugs.
Right.
I hate insects. And now I'm learning to love bugs. So I hope you can all see this. If not, I'll show it around a little bit more later. But basically, it's important to know about entomology about bugs, insects, all the same word. So here's a little graph that some of you may not be able to see over there as well. But essentially, it is a life cycle of a mayfly. So what you need to learn is why it's important to know about entomology. Well, basically, a fly lays its eggs and it attaches to gravel or plants or dirt life at the bottom of a riverbed. Then this fly will turn into a nymph, which is like a baby bug. And its exoskeleton will shed about 30 times within a year. And then it will try to emerge from the water. So just imagine you're this tiny little bug trying to get above a water surface. It's really hard to do. And then once you emerge, you're like a teenager, you're done. And for a day, you're basically trying to open your wings. And then you're a spinner, which is the bug that we try to get out of our face. So that's a life cycle. Now, why would you want to tie flies and learn about these bugs? Well, one, you're going to save money in the long term. You're going to amass a bunch of equipment, which I've displayed here and we'll talk about briefly. But over time, you can tie thousands or hundreds of bugs. And all of these little flies in the store cost $2 to $8 a bug. So just imagine how much money you're going to save. In addition to that, you get to learn about bugs. And when you know about bugs, you know how to catch fish. Because fish like different they like eggs, nymphs, spinners, all these different life cycles of the bug, and they like different kinds of bugs. So you really need to know what's out there. You're going to look under rocks and see what kind of bugs are there. You're going to look on the surface and see what kind of bugs are there. And if you don't have the bug you need when you're out there, you can go ahead and tie your own. So in addition to that, you get to be outside. And now to show you a little bit more in detail about some of these bugs. So for example, this orange ball is a close-up of an egg. This is on a hook. So these are tagged flies that are to resemble the real life bug. Then you have nymphs. So this is a worm and a nymph called a beadhead flashback pheasanttail. So all of these bugs have their real bug name and they have their fly fishing, fly tying name. So there's a lot of names involved in this. Then you have an emerger, the one that's trying to get out of the water. Then you have it's called an Adams. It's the dry fly that we spoke about earlier. In addition to that, you have other creatures down below, like the leech. So when this fly is wet, it's going to look like a leech. Then you have terrestrials, which are mice, spiders, ants, the list goes on. So then, now that you know about bugs, you need to know about materials. You need to know about peacock feathers, chicken necks, which I think is disgusting. You need to know about hook sizes. There's a lot to know here. Then you have this equipment, for example. This is called a vise. This is where you open this and put your hook in, and your hook sits there, and then you tie string, or thread around that. You tie materials into it, like moose skin, feathers. You can go ahead and pass some of these around. There's even animal tails, feathers, the list goes on. You can even take fur from your own pet. Then you have budding, which is the body. This could resemble some of your own pet's fur. So I want to just pass a couple flies. They're a little too small to show from here, but that I've recently tied. So my next adventure in fly fishing is to catch one of those fish, but using my own fly. Thank you.